Hello. It's one of those kind of guys that doesn't get along with many people. And I probably only said this 3 or 4 times in my life, or like I can genuinely say, here's a genuine person. I think is a great soul. If any of you hung out in a live stream where we, would talk and sometimes have crazy antics, just to make other people laugh, you would have met him. Also, too, if you own a Fujifilm camera and you called in for tech support, you likely did talk to my buddy. He texted me very frequently, and I'm proud of the fact that I made him laugh in live streams so much. He would come in and he would brag about how many, of course he needs them for the company because he's tech support, how many GFX cameras that he has, and he would do that as a humorous way of trying to make me feel jealous. He's like, he'd say, "How's your GFX 100 camera doing?" And I'd say, "Great," and he'd say something like, "Oh, well, I got 3 of them here." So I hate to say it, and here he is, Mr. Steve Skolsky. I know more than a few of you know who he is. I knew he was going to pass sometime this week. I had a feeling about it, and he did. Actually, the president is such a great guy. I don't want to give his name because I don't. As soon as you give someone's name, then like people reach out to them and try to buzz them. So if he's watching this video, and I know he will, the reason why I'm not mentioning your name is I don't want people to unnecessarily reach out to him and bug him since he's such a busy man. But yeah, the president of Fujifilm USA reached out to me, told me that he died last night. I spent 4 days with a guy in the same hotel. He stayed down the hall from me in the hotel, and we just had a blast. He's just one hell of a human being. He'd been in intensive care, critical care, for like nearly a month or more. I thought I'd get his phone when I heard about how sick he was. Here's us down in Times Square. I took this picture with my Fujifilm X, I think my GFX. And here's many of his, and there's Bruno in logistics, and I forget his name. And we had a hoot at a fancy restaurant. I flew up there to be helpful and, just schmooze around with people. And I paid for my own flight up there, but I so enjoyed hanging out with all these guys, but especially this dude that stayed in the same hotel with me because he was a hoot and a half. He's just such a great guy. And we came to a lot of live streams, and my live streams pretty much seem to repeat themselves. Not that I want them to, but people keep asking the same questions. He just came in, and he just thought I was funny as hell. I'm going to miss you. You're such a great guy, Steve. I've been worrying about you for weeks now. But at first I felt bad. Here's me. We were at a fancy restaurant. I've never been to a fancy restaurant. Here's fat me over here, and here's Skolsky over here. I reached out to him thinking I'd leave him a voicemail message. I didn't know that he was on oxygen at the time. Later he became intubated. But I called and I didn't think I'd get him, but he picked up the phone and he just sounded absolutely freaking horrible. Which I shouldn't say that, but I mean it was honest and even he would admit it. And he started to cry on the phone. I knew he was crying on the phone, and he says it means so much. I'm trying to remember his exact words the last time I got a chance to say goodbye to him. Which I wasn't saying goodbye to him. I kind of knew he wouldn't make it, but I didn't want to, depress him or anything. He said, it means so much to me that you called and were thinking about me. And he said, it just warms my heart. And I said, I didn't know you were on oxygen. I just thought I'd leave you a voice message. I didn't mean to bother you while you're... I would have actually, and I knew deep down inside that I knew I wouldn't get a chance to talk to him again. But when someone sounds that bad and they're in critical care, it's like, you don't want to bother them and stress them out, especially if talking, is painful, which it sounded like it was for him. But at least I got a chance to, say goodbye to my buddy. He's such a great guy. The old saying about, they only take the good ones. Ultimately, everybody gets taken, but The good ones always get taken before their time. I know he was talking about retiring sometime in the near future, and I feel so bad. I can't remember how many kids he has. He might have 2 or 3 kids. I'm sorry, I can't remember this. But he has a wife, and he was talking about retiring, and you know how expensive property taxes are up in New Jersey. I mean, I have another buddy up in New Jersey. New Jersey people are great, but I find the place reprehensible that people have to pay such horrible taxes there. But anyway, this video is about him, not about New Jersey. He talked about, you know, retiring, you know, not to leave Fujifilm, but you know, just to get someplace a lot cheaper and a lot less stressful to drive around in. And you know, there's an old saying that says, life is what happens when you make plans. And I feel bad that somebody that works so hard and was such a good dude, you know, didn't get a chance to retire. That's just really, really sad. But that's the nature of life. I know. I mean, same thing happened to my wife. My wife never got a chance to retire. You know, she came down with a brain tumor and, you know, very slowly and painfully died over many, many years. So, this is his buddy that also works with him. That's why he's standing next to him. I was taking a picture of them. This is us at the ferry. He drives one of his vehicles was a Humvee. And New Jersey traffic is hellish. And he would like drive up on somebody and he'd like get within 2 feet of their bumper at like 60 miles an hour and hit the brakes, and he scared the hell out of me in his driving. He thought that was so funny. I think everybody up there drives like that. They wait till they get a few inches from somebody's bumper and then you slam on the brakes. I don't think anybody's brakes up in New Jersey last very long because of that. Anyway, he was a genius on the GFX and Fujifilm X series system. Even though he's tech support, he even called me for tech support a couple times, which I thought was not so much funny, but also cute and something else. You know, indescribable words. He called me up. He wanted to know the answer to something because I tinker a lot with Fujifilm stuff, and I wrote that book, and he did something so nice. You know, it didn't get me anything, but it made me feel really nice, is that he took my Fujifilm book that I wrote, you know, which is free of charge, and he printed out bunches of copies. And he sent me like 10 copies of it. But he also, too, printed them out for all his Fujifilm tech support up in Jersey. He said my book is great. And, of course, you know, they're, really? You guys are tech support. You really like my book? He's like, yeah, man, it's awesome. That made me so happy. He's such a great guy. And the only thing I regret is not getting a chance to see him again, or really getting a genuine chance to say goodbye to him. But I did it in my own way. I mean, I tried calling him several times, and I couldn't get through to him. And then I did, and he picked up. And I couldn't recognize him. He sounded so bad. But, I mean, that's to be expected. I heard several days ago that both his kidneys had completely failed, which is horrible, and then I knew he wasn't long for the world after hearing that horrible news. Yeah, there's Bruno in logistics at Fujifilm, and there's Dan number 2. I guess they call him Big Dan. And his buddy over there, I remember him. I can't remember anybody's name to save my life that he's standing next to. The really tall guy that had to stoop down. And they got these little shirts that say camera repair. They did camera sensor cleanings and repairs. So if you ever sent your camera up to Fujifilm, or you called in for tech support, it's highly likely talk to him. He's a great asset and a wonderful dude. He's beyond wonderful, actually. Wonderful is an understatement. Anyway, I miss you, Steve. You're a great guy. He's one of the few people I can say I've ever met is just like one of those awesome friggin' dudes. Like, you know, you known him for a couple days, and you could, if you had $1 million, which I don't, you know, you could like leave it with them for a month and come back and know it was still there. One of those type of people. Well, I'm sorry you didn't get a chance to retire and, you know, live out the last years of your life with your wife and your kids. That's just absolutely horrible. Anyway, goodbye, Steve Skolsky. You're a wonderful, wonderful person. I could say a lot more, but I don't know. making me break up to think about the poor guy, all that he went through for that. Goodbye.